The NFC West-champion Seattle Seahawks, they are going into the playoffs hoping to get either the number 2 or number 3 seed, and a very competitive division as well. I know a lot of people weren't assuming it was going to be that tough and didn't expect the Seahawks to win the division, especially after San Francisco won not only the division but the conference as well and represented the NFC in the Super Bowl. And here with me to talk about this year's Seahawks team is Jeremy Metzger, who a lot of you guys may not know is my nephew as well. And I'm glad to have you on. This is the second nephew I've had on the podcast to talk about their team. And I'm glad that you're here, Jeremy.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
First thing I wanted to ask you, being a fan of the Seahawks, what led you to become a Seahawks fan and how long have you been a fan?
So I've been a fan ever since I knew what football was because I was born in Seattle. And so I'm a very loyalistic person. And so that's where I was born. So that's the team I had because when I was first introduced to football, I lived in Idaho and Idaho doesn't have a team. And so I went to the next best, which was my home team. And I've been a fan ever since.
In your memory, what is the greatest moment in Seahawks history that you can remember?
So the time that I can remember was, of course, our 2014 win against the Broncos, which is still the highest score spread. I think that would be the word. It was 43-8. We absolutely blew them out of the water. And that was just such a fun Super Bowl to watch, just seeing us play them like they were a high school team. It was just absolutely amazing.
You think about that team, especially how it was built, a bunch of young guys. Pete Carroll had his experience coaching at USC. He sort of had his finger on the pulse of a lot of those young guys, and it really looked like it benefited them early on. To see them build from the ground up, especially when you look back at the Seahawks, aside from like the brief run they went to the Super Bowl under Mike Holmgren, it seems like there wasn't a lot of consistency until Pete Carroll got there.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
What were your expectations coming into the season? I know that the biggest thing is that the NFC West initially was going to go through San Francisco until it didn't. And what did you feel like the Seahawks did well? And what did you feel like was the biggest, add to the roster?
So for me, when I was first getting into the season, I was really excited because it was DK's second year and he's been improving a lot over the offseason. He improved a lot with working with Russell and Tyler Lockett. And so I was really excited to see that. And I was also excited to see our defense now that we had gotten Jamal Adams. And I was expecting us to probably get in either as a wild card or third or fourth seed. I was hoping more for third or fourth just because of how our defense built and how our offense is. And I think our biggest add to the team in season was Dunlap. He really helped us with our pass rush defense, and he's been a great addition to our line. I think off season, it was definitely Jamal Adams, of course, because he's been balling out all season. I think he hasn't been given nowhere near as much credit as he should be.
Was there a particular point where you were 100% certain that the Seahawks were getting into the playoffs?
I'd say about 3 games ago. We had a few games where we lost, and that was really big bummer. A couple that we lost by a lot, but most of our games that we've lost this season have been pretty dang close. It's been down to a field goal or a foul. And so I've been pretty secure in believing that we were able to make it this whole season. And so the time I felt that we were just down and getting it was when our defense started actually having a plan with how we were going to play and just actually going through and accomplishing what our plan is as a defense.
Was there a time you were concerned that they weren't going to make the playoffs? I know especially it was a 3-team race at a point between Seattle and the Rams and the Cardinals, but at any point did you feel like that the luck was going to run out?
No, I didn't feel like the luck was going to run out at all. There are some times I was like, man, if we don't keep up what we're doing, we could definitely fall quick. Because a lot of times the Seahawks will do absolutely amazing the first 6 games, and then they'll fall off for a little bit, and they'll either just do horrible the rest of the season, or they'll get back up in a couple games and start balling out like we did with our 2014 season. And so I believed throughout that we are going to just get back up because of the players we have and the chemistry they have and the coaching staff.
How big of an improvement has it been for DK Metcalf, I know everybody's going to remember him running down that interception and everything else. But to you, how big and how important has he been to the success of this team?
So I think he's actually one of the biggest and most important players right now, because we've got Tyler Lockett, who's absolutely amazing. And then we've got DK, who's really good at being just a really aggressive player. And as the Seahawks, our defense has always been a really aggressive defense, but our offense is normally, except for our running backs, haven't been very aggressive. And so when we got DK Metcalf and he was able to push people around like they were nothing, I was really excited to finally have a wide receiver where no one can guard him physically. And I think his biggest improvement have been his routes. His routes have improved insanely from when he became a rookie. The whole offseason, he was working with Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett to improve his route running. And I think he has done an amazing job at improving his route running, and his hands have just gotten a lot better at keeping that ball together.
Looking at the playoffs, the Seahawks are in. There's no doubt about that. Who do you think the Seahawks match up best with in the NFC?
So I think the best match for us would be Green Bay, even though, of course, we're kind of a rivalry between the two of us. They took us out last year, and hopefully that doesn't happen again. I don't think it will, because our team's playing very well. And if we keep the momentum going, we can definitely beat them. But I think that's our best match is with them. That's going to be the game that decides who's going to the Super Bowl, is us and the Packers.
Who's the team that, as Seahawks fans, you guys might be a bit worried about in the NFC? What about New Orleans? I know that there might be a team that you might see maybe in the next round, because eventually somebody, either it's Green Bay or Seattle or whoever wins the matchup between the East winner and their wild card, are going to have to probably face New Orleans.
I think we'd be good against New Orleans. It'll definitely, of course, be a struggle because they're an amazing team. But I really do think if our team keeps the momentum going and our defense keeps pushing hard, because the past few games our defense has been flawless, especially our past game against the Rams, putting them only at 8 points. I think we've done an amazing job, and I think that against the New Orleans that we'll be able to push through and get through that game.
Just looking at what's been a factor overall is this success, especially in a season where there has been a different training camp, no preseason, being able, it looks like that really Seattle's had a lot of stuff break their way. Do you feel that's been the case, or has it just been something where, again, they've had to earn everything that they've got?
Yeah, so I think the main reason that our team has been together really well and have had a pretty low amount of injuries compared to other teams, I think the big reason is because of Russell Wilson. He is really good at during the offseason, working with every player he can to improve them. And during the offseason, even with COVID, he, of course, worked with them, a lot less people together at once, and had masks on and all that. But he was working with everyone to improve them, because he knew everyone else wasn't able to practice as a team, and most people weren't practicing at all. But he knew that if their team had no practice, that they would be in the same spot as everyone else. And so he wanted to practice so he could be doing better than everyone else. And I think that's a big reason of why our team didn't fall as much as a lot of other teams did.
And as you mentioned, Russell Wilson, to have that stabilizing force, he's very versatile. Not only is he a pocket passer, he can scramble if he needs to, but doesn't overly rely on it. How important is it to have someone who has both abilities? You look at a team like Tampa Bay where Tom Brady's there, but he's not a mobile threat. He's not going to run. He's going to be pretty much in the pocket and could be a sitting duck.
Yeah, I think really important to have someone who can throw the ball accurately and far and also can scramble a little. I think one of the best things that I don't think any other quarterback has on Russell Wilson is his scrambling ability. If he's got two defenders running up on him, he can get out of there somehow. I don't even know how he does it, but he's able to just get out of the way and throw the ball accurately to a player or run. He's really good at just getting away from defenders. And this season, he's gotten sacked a little more than he usually does. And I think that's just because he hasn't had as much practice as he usually does, because he's usually practicing every day, year round. But he's definitely amazing at scrambling, and I think that's just one of the things that nobody does as well as he does.
Looking at the Super Bowl prediction, who do you have coming out of the AFC? Who do you have coming out of the NFC? And what will the final score be and why?
So I think that KC's going to come out on top just because they've been playing really well, and they went through the Super Bowl last year and won, of course. So now that their whole team has gone to the Super Bowl and everyone there knows how to play in the playoffs, a lot of times teams will do amazing through the normal season, but they haven't been to playoffs in a while. And so they aren't used to playing with the best teams back to back and just getting beaten up. And so I think they're definitely going to push through. And I think it's either going to be for the NFC, it's either going to be the Seahawks or it's going to be Green Bay. That is because Green Bay has been playing really well, and I think they will definitely be able to beat the Saints. And I think that the Seahawks will be able to beat the Saints. So I think those two teams, it's going to be between us and Green Bay. And I think the score is going to be very close. I'm guessing if it's Green Bay, I think Green Bay is going to come out on top by 3 points, maybe a touchdown. I would say KC would probably get 21 points, and then Green Bay would probably get 24, maybe 30, possibly. And if it's with the Seahawks, I think it's going to be down to the same thing, really close by a field goal or a touchdown. I don't think this Super Bowl is going to be a crazy Super Bowl when it comes to point differences. I think it's going to be really close. And I think it really is going to depend on the defenses. I mean, most Super Bowls depend on the defense, but I think that the NFC has a better defense overall compared to KC.
What are ways people can reach out to you, talk to you about the Seahawks, catch you on social media if possible?
Yeah, so people can reach out to me on Instagram at my name, just Jeremiah Metzger. That's JeremiahMetzger. That's pretty much the only place people can reach me because that's the only thing I'm ever on if I'm on. So yeah,